Good afternoon and welcome to summer in the UK. As you can see, it is wet, it's pretty windy and it's not that warm, so yeah, we had all the nice stuff back in April. So much shorter ride than I had planned today. I was hoping to go and do a nice long ride around Forest of Upholland, that kind of area. Yeah, saw somewhere called Anglezarke last time I was up this way. Didn't have a chance to go out to it, so I thought it'd be nice to head over that way. And also, somebody in the comments to one of my other videos was mentioning Rivington and said the place called the Pigeon Tower, which I think is a walk from Rivington, and White Coppice, which seems to be a little bit further up past Anglezarke, so I thought I would go and have a look at those places. So yeah, nice little ride out in between showers, expecting to get absolutely saturated at some point, but got to get out whilst we can. So yeah, a bit of Lancashire countryside, pretty nice area. As you can see, trees moving. I reckon we got about 25 miles an hour headwinds. It's a bit gusty at times as well. So this is Rivington Reservoir, which is looking very low. So we've had a sustained period of very dry weather. I don't think I've ever seen that so low. Wow. Let's see if we can dodge the bus. So yeah, you'll have to forgive me, might be a little bit chatty, less chatty than usual. Just taking a little bit of attention and riding on some of these surfaces. That wind is really not helping things. One of those do you don't you days. I'm looking at it, I decided fairly early on, given the volume of water that was coming down, that yeah, full day's riding wasn't appealing. Hadn't accounted for the wind, I was just looking at the water, but yeah, sort of regretting it at the moment, I must admit. But it gives me a chance to tell you what this is like in the wet. Obviously it's a pretty basic bike. It has ABS, but no traction control. Doesn't really need it. With 40 brake horsepower, doesn't really want traction control. But yeah, it's pretty stable enough. These tyres are good. These don't feel sketchy at all. The grip's pretty good. Brakes still work very nicely in this. Particularly slimy down here, I think, because it's tree lines. Wow, I have genuinely never seen that down that low. I don't know if the camera can make out. I may even flash up an image from when I was here last time, but yeah, you can see the normal water line. And we're coming over here in February, and these riding down these roads, the trees were white. It was absolutely beautiful. Probably meant I should have been on the bike because it was pretty icy, but yeah, that was just really very pretty place with a river in the road and a hell of a lot of bumps. Right, where are we going? So this is a bit I noticed last time on the map. Thought, let's go and see what's up here. See, I think it's pronounced Anglezarke, I'm not entirely sure. Road ahead closed. That's a great sign. Well, let's see how far ahead it's closed. Resident access only. Okay, well, let's just pull in here and then we'll go off somewhere else. Oh, it's disgusting, there's so much rubbish up here. Right, so this will be the viewing point for the reservoir. Clearly no point in going any further because we're going to get through, so let's head back down to the main road and then we'll pick up on the road in the distance just over there and head over to White Coppice and see what's there. Not a bad view back down over Rivington as well from here. Well, as much as I'm complaining about the rain, then it's probably just as well, otherwise we'll be heading straight into a drought. But it has been a very wet week. We have some building work going on at home, and I think they've hit the worst of all weathers. They had the really dry hot spell when they were digging out all the footings and foundations of really tough ground, and now they're trying to do roofing and bricklaying, and they're absolutely swamped in mud, and yeah, it's always the wrong weather, isn't it? But say welcome to England. Just that environment where you never know what you're going to get. But it's still pretty warm, so can't complain on that front. 14-15 degrees is tolerable to be out of the bike. Could just do with a bit less wind and a bit more sunshine. I promise I'll stop moaning in a minute. One of those rides where you just want to really want it to be out today. I'm just a bit disappointed that the weather has wrecked my plans, but there we go. I will say it's very quiet on the walking front today as well. Normally this road and the other road we came over across the reservoir and are absolutely chock-a-block with cars at this time of year. Not many people wanting to visit. So anyway, yeah, saying this bike in the wet of the wind. I talked about the screen many times now, and I think that is still something I'll give that a go. I'm going to order up that WRS screen and stick it on the bike and see what it does in terms of wind protection on the motorways. That's a nice little lane. But it is such a confidence-inspiring bike anyway. I mean, even though some of those roads we just went down, you could feel they were slippy, under the tyres. But it's very easy to ride. It's low speed. It's nicely balanced. It is a little top heavy. If you have to put your foot down, you're got to catch it. I'm pretty big, so I'm not too worried about that. But I think if you were a smaller rider and you had to catch it, it could be a little bit concerning. But I think anyone, you know, 5'7" or over really isn't going to struggle with this. Wind protection, although it's just that little screen, it does a job, you know. It does deflect some of it off your chest, and it hits you mainly on your helmet on this bike. That's why I want the bigger screen to try, just to see if it's better at 70. But yeah, it's really very impressive. And as I already mentioned, obviously the brakes, yeah, feel good in all conditions. Don't feel like you get any significant fade. I do intend to use this through the winter, so let's see how it goes with that. But no big concerns. There's a bit more protection needed, maybe some heated grips, because even with those hand guards, it does feel a little bit on the chilly side of the middle of winter. Although I've gone for the nicer looking ones. There was a bigger pair from Busters called a Storm. So I've got this, the bracket's the same, so I can change the face plates. I might try that. I think they just curl around a little bit more. Do love these roads, just always a little bit daunting the first time you ride them, because you don't know where the bends go, and obviously all the time you have no idea what's coming towards you. And as you see from some of the cars earlier on, they don't have any idea how long it takes to stop on a downhill slope in the wet and just pile down these roads. Oh, nice house. Is there a little lake in the garden? Another sheep. Oh, fabulous place to live. Oh God. First gear descent. Jeepers. Now we're going under the M61. Who knew there's little forest routes like this running under the motorways. Amazing little places you find. So yeah, actually it was nice of that car to just pull over. I was going to mention, as I was turning off just a few minutes before I started recording, I just turned the camera on, so I'll have to see, look back and see. But I was sat in the kind of central reservation area of the road, waiting to turn right, you know, kind of designated turning area. So traffic going past on the left, traffic coming towards me on the right, and I was waiting to cross it, and it was on a slight bend. This car came round the bend, and yeah, I got the distinct feeling she wasn't watching the road, looking at her phone or something. She was veering towards me a little bit. I was getting ready to jump off, I must admit. Saw that car coming towards me, and she kind of just turned back in. It certainly felt like she turned back in. So I'll have to have a look back at that video and see whether it looked as bad as I think it was. You can be sat stationary on your motorbike and still get wiped out. Oop, what are you mad about? So I used the Royal Enfield app and put in just a round trip ride with about 5 different waypoints on to try and get it to use the roads I wanted to. But it does seem to get a little bit confused from time to time. And I'm guessing, because that road's closed, there's diversion signs, we're just basically picking up on the other side of the road that I'd intended to go on. So that road closure, I think, has thrown the the circular route into a bit of turmoil. To be fair to the sat-nav, he knew what he wanted to do. I was just ignoring it. So if I'd paid attention to it, we probably would have gone the right way. So watching a review of a bike this week, I can't for the life of me remember what the bike was now. And the reviewer said that the front and rear brakes were linked, which obviously, yeah, makes sense. Had linked brakes on the Honda bike I learnt on, but one thing he said surprised me is that's the rear's linked to the front as well as the front linked to the rears. I'd always thought linked brakes meant you pull the front, it applies some rear for you as well. But if they're saying that if you touch the rear, it's going to pull the front for you, that surely is not all that safe. You know, you want to be able to apply that rear for trail braking, or if you've got to apply brake in a corner, obviously the rear is the one you want to go for. So surely that's not a good thing if that's right. I'll have to see if I can check on the review and then tell you what the bike was. But yeah, curious if anybody knows that in general in terms of linked brakes technology. Are they all like that? Hello, cows. Get that one a shock starting up. Down to the reservoir by the looks of it. What's that one? Can't see. Beautiful little place. Guess I must go up to a starting point up here. Stop to look at the cows. Cows jumping down from the field. It's got a good vantage point there. So yeah, thank you to the person who put that up on the list. It wasn't somewhere I'd ever gone off to, but I might now head back there for a walk one day. It looks very nice. Trouble is with Lancashire, when you look on the trying to look for routes, it's such a big green space. Actually, there's almost too much to choose from. Which route do you take? Moaning cows. Oh, wind's picking up again. You can probably hear it through the mic, to be honest. It's getting quite blurry again now. Maybe I'll end up cutting this ride short and heading home, I think. So what else has been going on in the world of motorcycles this week then? I noticed yesterday, scrolling through the internet, I did that video recently on the Chinese bikes and buying British, and one of the brands I mentioned, CCM, brand I've always had a sweet spot for, but if I'm really honest, probably never a bike I'd have bought, because they're quite small and it's a luxury mark, if you like. It's not a practical bike at all, not something. So it's a garage ornament, 600 cc's, very pretty little bikes, some nice scramblers and bobbers and things they've done. Anyway, yeah, very sad news. Just local to here, I think Blackburn or Bolton, Burnley, something like that. I'll put it up on the screen now, but yeah, gone into administration. So another British motorcycling mark going by the wayside. So I don't know whether there's any possibility that the administrators will find a way to keep them going, but certainly for businesses been going that long, if they haven't been able to get themselves out of trouble, I would say they're writing on the wall, which is very sad indeed. It's really very beautiful bikes they're making, and also all hand built in Lancashire. I think they used to do some more enduro type bikes, and they've gone for the more kind of custom looking ones. I don't know whether that's changed things for them. They did have a new, I think it was some kind of scrambler looking bike on the stand at the NEC, but I don't think it ever made it to production there, so bit of a shame. Especially as you think now, with the smaller capacity bikes coming into favour, it would be a good time for them, really. I mean, even I noticed one of the other ones, Aprilia, their Touareg, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but their adventure or kind of off-road machine, if you like. It's a 660 at the moment, something like that. But they're going to bring out a 472cc version of it, and that's going to be market demand, hasn't it? Kind of seeing how well all these small capacity enduro bikes are doing, and bringing out one to match. So that's going to be another contender, because the 600cc one I don't think is AT compliant. It's a lovely looking bike at a good price point. I imagine that'll be tempting to a lot of people that's on a small capacity basis, especially if it's a slightly smaller bike. It is quite a small bike, attractive bike, and of course that means that Piaggio then got a smaller capacity platform to bring into other bikes. So are we going to start seeing smaller engined Moto Guzzi's, as well as the they've been increasing, they've crept up from 700 to 800, and now obviously they've got the 1100s. Are they going to bring something at the other end as well? Who knows? So yeah, be good to see, but some interesting things coming along, definitely. And I'm still really hoping we see the BSA B65 Scrambler soon. I mean, talking to the dealer in Chester, Bill Smith, they seemed reluctant to either to consider taking any kind of pre-orders for those bikes. I was trying to gauge how soon they thought it was coming, but they were very non-committal. I don't think they trust any kind of launch dates they've been given until they actually see the bike, which is different, because some of the other brands, I mean Royal Enfield for one, if you walk into a dealer today for a bike that's been announced but has no actual launch date, they will happily take your deposit and wait for that bike to come in. This is Dalton. So I'll probably make a separate video on this, but there's definitely some things I want to do to this bike now. I've had it a while. I think a few mods I think would be good. I mean, I've already spoken about a couple of them, quite obvious things, but the screen and some heated grips. I think if I'm going to use this all winter long, which is certainly my intention, then those two are a must. I do wonder about the tyres. As much as I'm finding these tyres absolutely fine, I wonder whether there's some mileage in putting some chunkier looking tyres on it. I think it suits the bike very well, and I presume may have some advantages in the rougher weather. And certainly the amount of roads I ride on now with a lot of loose gravel and just nasty crap in the middle of the roads, I am kind of tempted to change those, but there's nothing wrong with these, so part of me feels like it'd be a waste of money. Same with the tubeless. I mean, I have no problem with the tubes particularly. I know it's not going to be as convenient if I ever get a puncture. Could be getting recovered rather than repaired. I've got an inflation can in one of these pannier bags, hopefully get me out of trouble unless I do something which majorly damages the tyre. But yeah, the tubeless tyres, obviously there's plenty of people on the forum saying you must have tubeless, and plenty going, well no, tubes are absolutely fine. So never had tube tyres before, apart from an old Land Rover. I had no problem with that on a car. Don't see why it should cause me a problem on this bike, and I'm not entirely sure whether the tubeless tyres, tubeless wheels, as much as they look very nice, whether they're any stronger or even any lighter. I think they might actually be heavier than these ones. But anyway, yes, I digress again. That was something I wasn't necessarily going to upgrade. Where are we going? Yeah, this way. So yeah, screen, grips. I'm definitely going to put some kind of pannier rails on the back to get some soft bags on here. I think that's a must. The cruise control module, 100% going for that. So the Veridon cruise control, and again that bike assignment, he fitted it to his, looked very straightforward, and he seems pleased with his, so yes, we'll be doing that. At the same time as I do that, because I have to take the tank off for that anyway, I'm giving serious consideration to sticking a DNA filter on it and the open filter cap, and putting the Fuel X Pro on at the same time. Don't have any problem with the fueling performance. I'm just intrigued to see whether it makes a big difference to the throttle response, or whether it's any kind of less chuggy to lower RPMs, because as I mentioned before, the fuel map on the eco mode certainly seems to be better than the standard one for lower RPM riding, which I found curious. So I'm interested to see whether that Fuel X Pro makes any difference as well. Braking clutch levers, definitely want to have a look at those. These aren't adjustable, the standard ones. They're okay, but like now I start feeling just a little bit wearing on that clutch, and certainly when it's cold I find it very difficult when my hands are numb with that long reach lever. So I might actually put some definitely adjustable, but I'm actually looking at short adjustable ones as well, because Hitchcocks have some. I think Evotech had some as well, which look quite nice. What you said about the panniers, the exhaust. So I'm still in two minds on this. The noise on this is nice. I don't want it to become obnoxious, but I might look at a decap pipe, and I might look at the AEW exhaust. I'm not sure. Might just leave that one alone. We'll see. I want to put some caps over the axle bolts. I'll try and find something that fits on those. And I need to do a bit of a spray job. So where I've had these bags, the first time I attached them, I just put them on the over the bars. I didn't use the actual connection points, and the vibration has caused some paint rub on the crash bar guard. So I bought some spray paint. I'm going to have to see if I can get these off or mask the bike up and have a go at those as well. I think that is about it, to be honest. I don't intend to put a proper nav on this, so I'm more than happy with this one. It's doing a good job. I put my phone in my tank bag, in my crash bar bags if I need it. And I've got a charging cable to run to USB-C, so no concerns there. And yeah, one with obviously the saddle. The saddle's a big one. Still not happy with the comfort of this. It's not bad, but it needs to improve for using this for longer motorway runs. And I think the best thing to do, well, see, is one of those covers, the kind of mesh looking covers. It'll give it a bit more padding, a bit more width, and I think that will hopefully answer the concerns I've got left with it. And I think that's it. And that's that would be £1,000 I think, more or less in, so I've got to save a little bit for that. It's a lot to order in one go, but I think I may well get on with that towards the end of the summer, and obviously keeping in mind this has to be serviced sometime September time I think, so don't want to spend all the money because that's going to need to be done. Fifth gear, 60, 70, it's really pulling actually, that's past 70. Yeah, it's got a really impressive amount of punch, that bike. Come through. Oh man, that's windy. That's very open. So, why the upgrades to the Himalayan? Why not just leave it as it is? Well, I think that's because I've largely reached a decision. Still very much looking around because I'm indecisive and I love bikes, so I've got to always looking at what's around the corner. But I think I am all but set on the concept of keeping this bike to do the longer distance touring on. Hence the cruise control, hence the screen, everything like that. Just make it more capable. Well, not make it more capable, but just kind of increase its suitability for that role. So yeah, that's why I'm thinking those upgrades. So what then? Well, I think I would like to have the multiple Royal Enfield option. So I am thinking about ordering one, possibly two Royal Enfields over the next year. We'll see how finances allow, and yeah, see how I get on. But yeah, that will be my scenario now. And actually, one of the things I've just booked, obviously when I got this, I got access to Royal Enfield's Owners Club, which is a nice little add-on you get when you buy Royal Enfield, and they have lots of events come up on their webpage, so they do ride-outs and things. Sadly, not a lot that goes on around here. I know down where I've got some family live down in Crowthorne in Berkshire, and the centre down there in Crowthorne seems to do quite a lot of bits and pieces, ride outs and social events, which I think would be lovely. The ones up here don't unfortunately seem to do it so much. Yeah, so clutchless changes on this are easy. 4th blip, 3rd blip, 2nd blip. Third, 4th. It's such a good gearbox, this, honestly. Anyway, yeah, down in the Crewe Motorcycle Centre are running an event in August, test ride day. And what I've done, I booked myself on basically a day of riding. I think it's guided test routes, so it's not kind of free rein, but that's quite a good thing for me. I could concentrate on the bike then. But I put myself onto 5 or 6 models from the Enfield range, literally one after the other, to go out and ride. So that should be a lovely day out in August. Been dying to ride a 350 Classic. I'm intrigued to ride the Gorilla. I've not ridden the Gorilla, it's quite small for me, but I still want to have a go on it. So yeah, I'll be getting on the Gorilla as well. I'll get another go to ride the Shotgun and the Classic 650 again, so I'm going to get to go those. I haven't booked a Bear, didn't see the point, definitely not for me, that one. What else have I booked myself on for? I think I may have put myself on a Bullet as well. I was intrigued to see how the Bullet differs to the Classic 350. I'm sure it doesn't. I think that's what I booked on for. So yeah, really looking forward to that. So at some point between August and the end of the year, I will definitely be placing an order for a new bike. Possibly 2 new bikes if I stick with the Royal Enfield and I have the space. So yeah, very excited about that. Right, so back in towards London now, about to head on to some faster roads. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.